Change your heart, change your life, change the planet. Hey everybody, it's Tim Van Orden coming to you from the summit of Mount Greylock, the highest point in Massachusetts. I'm biking up the road on my mountain bike today. It's a 9-mile grind, and I've got this heavy old mountain bike, and I'm loving every minute of it. But the day didn't start out on a positive note, so I'm going to tell you about my day and how I got this big smiley grin on my face that I have now, even though I just spent the last 2 hours biking up this mountain. I have not been sleeping for the past week. Something's up that I got to go get checked out. It might be because of the tick bite I got. I might have a disease called Ehrlichia, which makes you want to sleep a lot, and there's a bug sucking my blood. Anyway, I wake up in the morning and I feel like I haven't slept at all. And then for the rest of the day, I'm just groggy and I'm yawning and I want to go back to bed. It doesn't matter what I eat. It doesn't matter if I take a nap or not. I'm still tired. The only thing that I found to be effective against this is exercise. But the last thing that I want to do in this state of grogginess is to exercise. So I don't force myself out the door. I didn't say, you've got to get out there and you've got to go bike up this mountain. No, I use my gentle, loving, nurturing, self-compassionate tools that I talk about in my Getting Started playlist. Check those out. And I get myself slowly and lovingly in the car, all dressed, step by step, focusing on the little detail, the next step. I get myself to the road, I get on my bike, and I say, you know what? You don't have to beat this mountain. You don't have to dominate it. You don't have to make it all the way to the top. Let's just get on the bike, start moving, and see what happens. And let's have a good time in the process. And one of the ways that I make my rides and runs enjoyable is to listen to audiobooks. And the one that I'm listening to now is so good that this is the third time I've listened to it this year. It's The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal. I love Kelly's work. She combines some phenomenal research with the idea of self-compassion and some Buddhist philosophy, lumps it all together in a very well-written package, and it's really in alignment with my core belief systems and also my experience as a human being and an athlete. This stuff actually works, and I've been putting it into practice for years now. So I'm coming up the road. I'm about 2 miles in. It's a really steep section. It's maybe 15 to 18% grade. My legs are burning like you can't even imagine. This bike is so heavy. It's not a road bike. It's a clunky old mountain bike. And I'm at a point where I just want to give up. It's a hairpin turn, and it's getting even steeper as I round the corner, and my legs are on fire. And Kelly, at that moment, is talking about the work of Dr. Tim Noakes, who's looked into fatigue and how it relates to the brain. We used to think that muscles become fatigued, we get tired, we want to give up because we've run out of fuel. But that's not the case. If you look at the blood of athletes who are becoming fatigued, it's not because they're out of fuel. It's because their brain has put on the brakes. Why is that? You can think of it a lot like the fuel gauge in your car. When the needle starts going near empty and the low fuel light flashes, that's not telling you that you're out of fuel. What it is telling you is, hey, you need to wake up for a moment and change your course here. You need to start looking for fuel. That's got to become your number one priority. Because if your car runs out of gas, you can't sleep overnight in the car and then wake up hoping that the gas is going to be full. Once the car runs out of gas, it's done. Same with the body. For the most part, the body will eventually start metabolizing its own flesh, but not immediately. So when the brain sees that you're about to run out of fuel or you're getting close to empty, it says, we better conserve energy. We better tire him out. We better do something that makes him slow down. We're going to create the experience of fatigue. So as far as my brain is concerned, if I keep up this intensity, I'm going to die soon. It doesn't know where the top of the mountain is, at least not the primitive parts of my brain that are creating this experience of fatigue. My prefrontal cortex knows where the summit of the mountain is, and it also knows that I've got Lara bars and coconut water in my backpack. But the primitive parts of the brain have no clue. All they know is that, dude, low fuel gauge here. If you run out of fuel, you're going to die. You're going to be eaten by predators. So it creates a sensation of fatigue so that I stop what I'm doing, can pause and plan and find some fuel. So here I am listening to Kelly talk about fatigue as my legs are burning going up this hill. And I'm curious, so I'm still burning, I'm enduring the pain. And then she says there was a study done at the University of Albany, which piques my interest because, hey, Albany's 40 miles away. I'm in Albany all the time. Ooh, a study done on my home turf. That's pretty cool. And what they found is that if they gave people financial rewards for doing something while fatigued, they found this reserve of energy. The governor in the brain said, wait a minute, oh, there's a financial reward? Well, I guess I'll take the brakes off and allow you to use the gas pedal again. So I thought to myself, could I try that right now? Like, I'm suffering, but there's a sign about 50 feet ahead. Can I actually increase my pace? Do I really have fuel? What if I give myself a reward right now? What if I make a game out of this and say, let's pretend that I'm going to get $500 if I can hammer all the way to that sign, even though I don't feel like I can pedal one more stroke. If I can hammer at full speed to that sign, I'm going to get $500. Yes. So I did. I hammered to that sign, and there it was. There was the energy. My brain was telling me, you can't take another stroke, and suddenly I'm going 3 times as fast because of an imagined financial reward. I was playing a game, and I do this a lot. I create games for myself, ways for me to engage that allow me to tap into the reserves that I didn't even know were there, and they get me in action in a way that I didn't even think possible. And I started doing this because I listened to a TED Talk by Kelly's sister, Jane McGonigal, a couple years ago. And Jane is a game designer and philosopher and author and really incredible woman. And when I heard her work on how games can improve our life, I thought, you know what? I'm going to try that. I'm going to start incorporating games into everything I do. I'm going to find ways to make life fun, to make my challenge fun, to give myself bonus points for sprinting up this hill to the sign, even though I'm already exhausted. And then I'm going to revel in the fact that I just won 500 imaginary dollars in my head. And you know what? When I got to that sign, I kept going. I slowed down a little bit, but I still kept going at a speed that was much faster than the speed that my brain told me was my maximum 30 seconds to a minute ago. I was now moving faster, and I was happier. I was feeling excited because I just got $500, and I was listening to this book, and it was jazzing me up, and I was thinking about how I can employ more games, and I'm thinking about Kelly McGonigal and Jane McGonigal and how great it would be to just sit down with them and have tea and coffee and talk about ideas as I bike up this mountain. And then I pulled over after I got through the steep climbs, and I thought, okay, I'll get a Lara bar, fuel myself up. I deserve it, right? Halfway up the mountain now. And as I'm sitting there on the side of the road eating my coconut Lara bar, feeling all good about the discovery that I just made, I get an email chime. So I thought, oh, I'll check my email. No big deal. I deserve it. I just powered up this crazy hill and invented this new game, and I was all puffed up. So I checked my email, and it was a notification from Twitter. Jane McGonigal has just followed you on Twitter. And I was like, you got to be effing kidding me. How strange is that? I'm listening to Kelly's book. I'm thinking about Jane and how I can combine these two ideas, fatigue and games, and I'm actually incorporating it on the bike, and I'm thinking about how I can share this with people and get people motivated to create more fun in their lives as they take on their willpower challenges. And in that moment, Jane McGonigal is following me on Twitter. And that just made the rest of the ride to the summit even more exciting. I've already done so much work. I've already experienced so much fatigue. And now the second half of the climb blew by like that because I'm like, Jane McGonigal's following me on Twitter. And there was no fatigue. My brain wasn't scared. My brain didn't see threat anywhere. My brain saw possibility. My brain saw an exciting future. It saw abundance. It saw collaboration. And that was awesome. So the next time you find yourself in a situation where you say, I can't go on, that's one part of your brain that's saying that. But there are many, many, many other parts of your brain that are silent in that moment. So let's wake them up. Let's create games. Let's see possibility. Let's get engaged. Let's find loving, nurturing, playful ways to get out there and to experience things that are challenging. Not so that we can suffer, not so that we can say, hey, I suffered today, I'm a great person, but so that we can experience ourselves in a state of growth, so that we can experience ourselves evolving and becoming more than we ever knew possible. The reason that I make the videos that I do and I talk about the topics that I talk about is to give people an understanding of emotional resilience. That's my biggest field of study now. How can we bounce back when life throws us a curve? How can we bounce back when life comes up and just wham, smashes you in the toes at full speed with a sledgehammer?